Blender Q&A and tutorial. What's up, everyone? Hope everyone had a great weekend. Again, we are live. Let me get everything set up. What's up, guys? Again, this is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. So if you have any questions regarding anything in Blender, you could ask it tonight. What's up, everyone? How was everyone's weekend? Again, live Blender Q&A and tutorial. If you have any questions regarding anything in Blender, I'll answer it tonight, and then we will do a live tutorial. What's up? What's up, Ad HD Brains? What's up, brother? What's up, everyone? How was everyone's weekend? Where's everyone coming in from? Hope you guys had a great weekend. All right. Hopefully a lot of Blender going on. Everyone's like, nope. What's up, guys? This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. So if you have any questions whatsoever regarding anything in Blender, you could ask it tonight. I will answer it live, and then we will do a live tutorial. What's up, everyone? Where's everyone coming in from? India. Awesome. What's up, brother? Every time someone says India, I got to say mango lassi, man. Let's go have a mango lassi. Detroit weekend was amazing. Nice. From Detroit. What's up, brother? Glad you had a good weekend, man. Happy Easter to all those who celebrate. I have one question. Question is, which mocap used for face animation or body animation? Great question, Said. So I'll get into that for the motion capture, my friend. That will be the first question we get to. Let me just wait like 2 more minutes for everyone to jump in. I want to do isometric modeling in a simpler way. Simpler than which way, my friend? Simpler than which way? You mean using a mirror modifier or? Yeah, mango lassi is great. Heck yeah, man. I didn't have a mango lassi this past weekend though, which is surprising. I usually do. But yeah. All right, guys, we're going to get into it. So again, if you have any questions whatsoever, you could ask it. We are live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Kick. Once again, guys, you could join in the Zoom. So if you join in the Zoom, you'll be able to see in full screen and also ask questions in the Q&A. Again, I've pinned the Zoom comment. But if you go to zoom.com and top right, click on join, you could type in the ID 891-1925-4656 or use the link. All right. So let's get into it, guys. Live Q&A and tutorial. So get your questions ready. I'm going to get to the first question here by Saeed. And then I'm going to take other questions and we will do a live tutorial. So Saeed says, I have one question. Which mocap used for face animation or body animation? So great question. What's up, Ab? So Saeed, I'm answering your first question about motion capture for sure. He says, I want to learn animation. Can you guide me? Definitely. Well, let me get to your first question. So first question is, which software for mocap or face animation? So I actually just put out a couple months ago, like 2-3 months ago, I put out a course on creating an animated short in Blender using AI, and we do motion capture and everything. So as far as motion capture, what I could recommend is, let me go ahead and share my screen here again. So right here, let me share my screen on Zoom. So what I recommend if you want to do motion capture with Blender is get Rococo. So right here, Rococo, if you just search for Rococo motion capture, right here, if you go to rococo.com, and again, this is what I used in my motion capture animation. So with Rococo, they actually have a plugin to basically map your motion capture to your object. So right here, like modeling objects step by step, or we have a library or anything. Sure, I'll get to your question in a second, try. So right here, if you guys want to do motion capture, guys, check out rococo.com. And over here, they actually have a video motion capture. So you don't even need a motion capture suit. If you go to capture tools up here, you could go to Rococo Vision right here. And Rococo Vision actually allows for you to upload a video and it will use that video to create the motion capture data. So all you have to do once you close all these pop-ups is click on capture your motion for free. You'll just log in and you'll be able to upload a video, which then allows for you to use motion capture. Now, once you've done this, there's actually an add-on for Blender and Rococo. So again, right now I'm not gonna get into the motion capture here, but in fact, let me check one thing. Hold on. So let me see if I could log in here if I remember my account. That way I could show you guys. Give me a second. 5 minutes later. Let's see. Hopefully I logged in with Google. I don't know. Let me check. Give me a second, guys. Let's see. All right. Well, this isn't properly logged in or whatever. So anyways, you go to rococo.com, you log in, you could upload a video. And once you upload that video, it will create a motion capture, as you can see right there. And then what you want to do is you want to search for Rococo Blender plugin. And there's actually a plugin right here. So you can see right here, I believe it's, let me see. Where is it? Here it is, right here. So there's the Rococo Blender plugin right here. So you would just download it, as you can see right there. And then once you download it, so let me just go ahead and download it here. In Blender, you'll just obviously go to Edit Preferences and install the Rococo add-on. So right here, and enable it. And again, I did a whole course. I have a course on creating an animated short. We go ahead and we create a full animated short using motion capture, AI, and a bunch of other stuff. So it's really awesome. And this is the kind of motion capture I use. I just use Rococo. All right, what the heck's happening here? Let me try to enable this right here. So you'll just enable that, and what you're able to do is you're able to load in your Rococo motion capture rig, and you're able to target it to, let's say, your Rigify rig or whatever you want, which is really, really sweet. So right here, let me see what the heck's happening with enabling this. So hopefully that answers your question about motion capture, like what software to use. I would use Rococo and just download Rococo plugin for Blender. On Rococo, you don't need a suit. Just upload the video and you could create a full motion capture from a video and just mess around with it. All right. All right. I think here, let me check. Did it enable it? Let me see. Let me see if it got enabled. All right. Where is the Rococo add-on? So right here, also another one that I recommend. Let me go back to my screen over here. Another one that I recommend besides Rococo is, what was it called? Let me get the name for you guys quickly. Give me a second. There's another great one as well. Let me get the name here. Let me see. Give me a second. So 95. I forgot what it was called. Hold on, let me check. There's another great motion capture thing. Yeah, Plask AI is great as well. And also, let me check one thing. On 25, hold on, guys. I'm getting the other program that I like. Oh yeah, AccuRig. If you want to rig your model quickly, a great program is called AccuRig. So if you search for AccuRig, you could, of course, use Mixamo or the Rigify add-on, of course. But AccuRig is a great program that uses AI technology, and it allows for you to quickly rig your model. So if you go to AccuRig right here, you could download it. And this basically allows for you to quickly just add dots wherever you want the bones, and it will generate a fully working rig in seconds. So again, check out AccuRig. All right, let me get to another question. Hopefully that helps you with the motion capture and all that good stuff. So again, use Rococo Studio and AccuRig, and Mixamo too is great as well. All right, let me see. I wasn't able to do texture paint in Blender 4.1 on image I downloaded from Bridge. I want to learn only animation. Can you guide me? Let me see. Like modeling objects step by step, or we have a library or anything. All right, so Just Karan says, I wasn't able to texture paint in Blender 4.1 on image I downloaded from Bridge. Do you mean the image for the bridge on the course? Is that what you mean? So if you want to texture paint in Blender, all you need to do is in the shader editor. So again, the question is texture painting on an image in Blender. So if you want to do that, make sure to hit Shift-A, add your image texture, obviously. And here I'm just going to open a random image. So let me open a random image right here. So let's say I have this image right here. Once you have your image, if you hit Control-Tab and go into Texture Paint right here, you should be able to texture paint on top of it, as you can see right there. If you're not able to texture paint on it, then there might be a setting that is not properly set up. But I would try in a brand new Blender scene. Again, all you need to do is have your image connected to the surface output of your material output to see it, and then you could texture paint directly onto your image. Tree says, like modeling objects step by step, or we have a library or anything. What kind of object are you trying to model, my friend? Ab says volumetric sunlight, like sunlight through a window, but don't want the whole room to be filled with fog. Okay. So we could do that. How would I normal animate things? No, like Quixel Mega Scan. I'm not sure what you mean, Jessica Run. Bundle, thanks for my seed. Anytime, Saeed. Could do another image, but not on that particular one. All right, let me get to Ab's question here quickly. Will you be posting a car modeling tutorial anytime soon? Yes, I'll be doing that for sure, my friend. So Ab is asking how to make like volumetric sunlight, like sunlight through a window, but don't want the whole room to be filled with fog. Okay, so basically Ab is wanting some volumetric sunlight, but again, the volumetrics to not fill the whole room. So not the whole room filled with fog. So let's get to that. Once again, guys, we are live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and everywhere else. What's up, Phil? Yes, I'm sharing the screen now. By the way, guys, you could go on Zoom and you could see it in full screen on Zoom. What's up, Phil? All right, so Ab was asking how to make volumetrics in a room, but not the whole thing fill up with fog. So right here, let's say you have your window here, and over here, I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to add in a cube, and let me just add some volumetrics right here with this cube. So right here, let me go to rendered viewport shading mode and cycles. And right here to add tricks, all you need really to make it simple is add a, and in the shader editor, a new material, and you want to delete the principled BSDF, and now the volume, get a principled volume. Now, you were filling up the whole room, as you could see right there, because it's the whole cube, as you could see. So, what I would do to get more control over the fog, or for anyone who wants to control their fog a little bit more, that way you could be like Storm from volumetrics is only going into the lightly. As you can see right here, if I hide the house, I'm able to basically control how much into the house the volumetrics is going. And of course, I could change closer to black it is, the less dense it is, and the closer your fog. How would I normal animate things, Mr. Snow asks. I don't know what that means. Voice breaking, man. How is it now? Is it better? Stuck and voice lagging. What about now? Is it better? Can you hear me now? Voice breaking. It's still breaking? How about now? Is it better? Let me know if it's still breaking on Instagram or if it's better now. If it's still breaking, I'll end the Zoom and then everyone could go on YouTube. It happens every time you use cycles. Got it. All right. Let me know if it's better. People on Instagram and YouTube and everything. All right. Does anyone, and Zoom, it's fine. Yeah. All right. Does anyone have any other questions? No, it's good now. Okay. I guess it's when I use cycles, huh? Hey, so you already know I'm working on an animation. Let's say I want to add a video clip in the animation. How would I do that? So are you talking about adding a video clip in the animation? Yeah, so it's a separate MP4 file. So you're talking about adding a video clip like in the background of your animation? Like the video is in the animation? Is that what you're talking about? All right, so the question is, so how to add a video like as part of your animation? So you have your animation and add a separate video on top of that animation. Is that what you mean? Kinda. Okay. So basically, the question is, how do you add a video on top of the animation that you have? So what you'll want to do is use the video sequence editor. So over here, guys, Blender is great because everything is built in. We have a video editor and everything. So if you go to video sequence editor right here, all you'll want to do, default cube, is you'll want to go to the video sequence editor, Shift A, and add your original image. So you'll add a movie, you'll add your original video that you rendered out, and then you'll just add your other video to add to it. Can we also composite videos in Blender like in After Effects? That's a good question. So, yeah, I tried that, but it doesn't show it at all. I'll have to take a look at your file, default cube, and take a look at it. If you want to send it to me on the site, I could take a look at it after. So Ab asks, can we composite videos in Blender like in After Effects? So that's a great question. And yes, you could kind of do that. So the question is how to composite videos in Blender like in After Effects. So what I recommend is that if you're going to render out a movie and if you want to be able to composite it after, I recommend that your output file format, you set it to OpenEXR multi-layer rendering. So what this does is OpenEXR multi-layer allows for you to render out in the images just like a PNG. A PNG image has basically red, green, and blue and an alpha channel. So there's an alpha channel in a PNG, hence why we could have transparent backgrounds. On OpenEXR multi-layer images, we're able to actually have the layers of the images put into the images themselves. So right here, if we go to view layer, you can see that we could have a bunch of different layers on our images, as you can see right here. And what this does, let me go ahead and load some in. I actually have some rendered out from my animation. So right here, let me go to the compositor and use nodes. Right here, I could add in an image and I'm going to click on open. And once I've rendered out my images as EXRs, this allows for me to do this. Let me go ahead and load it. Do we have a library of isometric models? I mean, you could create an asset or get a library online, but you also have the extra objects add-on as well, which could give you isometric models. So over here, let me see if I could find my rendered images. Renders. So right here, as you can see, my animated short movie, which was about like 3 minutes long or so, and I think it was like about 4,000 images or frames. You can see I rendered all the images as EXR images. So if I load in, I'm just going to load in like 10 of these. And if I load these in, you could see that here, 5 hours later, you could see that here as an EXR image, let me remove that. We actually have all the different layer properties that I enabled for this. So for example, I have, as you can see, this is the animated short. Let me zoom out a little bit. So right here, I have the combined pass, but then I also have all these other passes for emission, diffuse. I have obviously the the denoising pass, etc. So now that I have all these passes, and what's even cooler, is that with these passes, I also have the crypto matte passes. So let's say first here I want to denoise this, obviously, because it's noisy. So I have my denoising passes. So I could denoise this with the denoising albedo and denoising normal right there. And let me plug this into here. And right here. Why isn't this updating properly? What is happening? Let me try that again. All right, I'm not sure why it's not working on accurate. All right, whatever. I'll just put the denoising to the side for now. But in my final render, I denoised all the images. And then, for example, we could have a crypto mat here. And what's cool is, as you could see right here, I could go ahead and load in the images here as well. So I could open that same image sequence. And then right here, I'll actually be able to pick the, oh, there it goes. There goes Blender. All right, but I would be able to pick the different crypto maps. Yes, you could kind of composite Blender as you would in Adobe After Effects or whatever. But I recommend rendering out your images as EXRs, basically, so that you have the different layers and passes to be able to render it in. All right, let me see. I guess my Blender crashed, so there you go. All right, does anyone have any other questions? So Ab, yes, you could composite it like After Effects. I would render it out as EXR images so that you have all of the different passes there at your disposal. Reading from Facebook Live. What's up, Ruin? Yes, I'm on Facebook Live as well as YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, not TikTok, Twitch, and Kick. Do we have a library of isometric models? So let me check something. So by isometric models, are you talking about like cubes and spheres, or what do you mean by isometric models exactly? Zoom as well. What's up, Yash? Can you just show by adding some random vid to a simple animation? I don't really want to send the whole file. I can't end the clip. I wanted to add if you need that. Yeah, sure. I could show you, man. So let me go back to Default Cube's question. His question was how to add a video at the end of your animation. So here, let's say in the video sequencer, I hit Shift A and I add a movie. Let me just go ahead and add in my animated short. So right here, I'm going to get my animated short that I did. So down here, and where is it? Where is it in this mess of files? Oh, here. So I think, whatever, it's one of these. All right, so let's say I have my video here. I'm going to change this to sequencer and preview. So right here, I have this video here, as you can see right there. So I have the animated short. And then right here, at the end of all this, let me increase my end frame. Let me just put it to 10,000. So, or maybe 50,000. So at the end of all this, I could just hit Shift A, add another movie. And here I could go ahead and let's say I want to add this movie right here. And as you can see, it's added this movie and I could just put it at the end of this clip. And so now I have this movie that goes then to this one right here. And then you could just render this as a final movie and it will combine these two together. Oh, I see. Thanks. Anytime, man. Anytime. So yeah, just add them all here. And then you could do the same thing with an image sequence. So you could add an image sequence here as well. Ruin says, I've started with the hardest form of modeling animation, doing Transformers animation. Dang, yeah, that's definitely harder. I'm currently working on a cut character named Battle Trap from Transformers EOTB. Very cool, Ruin. Definitely want to see that. That sounds sweet. You mentioned BlenderCon before. What is it for? Just a Blender convention for the fans, or the devs and creators are present also? So yeah, BlendCon LA is happening on April 19th here in LA. It's the first one in LA. Basically, it's the same thing as the Blender conference in Amsterdam, but it's happening in LA. So it's the first time in LA. CG Cookie and the Blender Foundation is putting it on. So it's going to be at the Fonda Theater in LA on April 19. Myself and Phil and others are going, so it's going to be sweet. All right. Does anyone have any other questions about anything? Again, can be related to anything in Blender. And then someone was asking, do we have a library of isometric models? So, I mean, for isometric models, I would just model it manually. As far as the library, you could have the extra objects add-on. So if you go to Edit, Preferences, and Add-ons, or not add-ons, and under the add-ons, you search for extra objects. So extra objects right here. You can see that here, if you hit Shift-A and go to Mesh, you can see here that you have some extra different objects. There are some isometric shapes that you could base it off of to create whatever you're trying to create. For example, right here we have, triangles or solids and things like that. But again, it all depends what you're trying to do. But yeah, as far as assets or libraries, if you want an asset or library, my friend, I would just go to blendermarket.com and they have a bunch of models there. A question about sequence. The video I have is a lot of different resolution. I wanted to scale the video up and omit part of it. Is that possible? As far as scaling the video up, I'm not sure. I've never done that in the video sequencer. I think you might be able to. Probably more of a compositor thing. In the compositor, you could scale stuff. So for example, right here, if you go to the compositor, again, the question is he has a video and he wants to scale it. So here in the compositor, you could add a movie clip right here. So right here, I could add a movie clip, as you can see right here. And on this movie clip, first of all, I have the scale right here. But then I could always get a transform node right here, and I could scale the movie clip if I want to. So, and in fact, I don't think I would use a transform node. What resolution would be considered HD in Blender? I would say minimum 1080p for sure. So, let's see. Maybe I'd use a scale node right here. So yeah, you could use the compositor to scale your movies, default cube. So I would use that instead. What resolution would be considered HD in Blender? 1080p at least, man. 1080p, 4K obviously, but I would say 1080p at least. Default cube says gotcha. All right. Does anyone have any other questions before we get into the live tutorial? Again, the live tutorial is going to be on sculpting. So we're going to do some sculpting. Free sites I recommend. ArtStation. Free sites I recommend to use. TurboSquid and ArtStation. Nice. I was looking into render regions where it would unrender other regions. By the way, how would you get a scene not to crash using cell shading with procedural metallic textures and grease pencil using Eevee with color management filter? Dude, that's like a whole freaking... That's a whole question wrapped into one. I'm not quite sure on that one because I don't use grease pencil really, and I haven't really done any cell shading either. So I wouldn't be the best to answer that question, unfortunately, Ruin. I haven't really done grease pencil too much or cell shading, so you're probably asking the wrong question to the wrong person. But yeah. Can you do procedural metallic texture? Definitely. All right, let's do a procedural metallic texture, and then we're going to get into the live tutorial. So here, I'm going to go ahead and add in a plane. Again, guys, we're going to do a procedural metallic texture. I'm going to go to the shader editor. And here, I'm going to click on new to add a new material. Obviously, I want to go to rendered viewport shading mode. What's up, guys? This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. I'm showing how to do a procedural metal texture. So right here, obviously, it's going to be metallic. So right here, we have this metallic slider. If this is at 0, your object will be a dielectric, which is basically anything that's not metal. And if it's at 1, your object will be metallic. So you either want this value to be at 1 or 0. You then have the roughness. This is how shiny or not shiny it is. So if it's at 0, it will be completely shiny and reflective. And let me add in, let me go to the shading tab. That way we have the world. There we go. You can see that right here. It is completely shiny and reflective. And if we put the roughness up, it becomes less shiny or less reflective. So now for the metal, we're going to go ahead and out of the base color, we're going to get a noise texture right here. So noise texture right there. And then with this noise texture, if I hit Control Shift left click to preview it, you can see that we have this right here. Now let's say we want a brushed metal look. Well, all we need to do is basically stretch this texture. So on the noise texture, I'm going to hit Control T. Again, make sure you have Node Wrangler enabled to add a mapping and texture coordinate. And here I'm going to put the X scale down. And you can see that as I do, it stretches it. So I'm going to put it down to 0.1 right here. Then on the noise texture, I'm going to increase the scale like so. You could also increase the detail and the roughness if you want, depending on the look you're trying to get. And then here, if I Control Shift left click this, I could then go ahead and adjust the roughness here. And of course, I could hit Shift A. I could get, actually before I do that, out of the normal, because right now it's way too shiny or reflective. So out of the normal, I want to get a bump node and add a slight bump to this. So right here, I'm going to plug the factor into the height. And the bump is basically going to give us the illusion of bump. Howdy, hope you're all doing excellent. What's up, you fellow boy? Now you can see that this bump is way too intense. So I'm going to put the distance down to like 0.01, maybe something like that. And now you can see that we're starting to get a metallic look. Now, obviously, you want to adjust this however you want it to look. So maybe I want to put the roughness up. Maybe the bump distance is too high, so I'll put it down to 0.005. And then also, I don't like that it's like black. I don't want it black or completely white, so I could add a color ramp after the noise texture in between the noise and the color. And right here, I could adjust the colors of this. So right here, I could put this black up a little bit to make it more of a gray. And I could put this white down a little bit to make it a little bit more of a grayish color. So now we get, again, you could adjust it however you want. But here I could extrude this and extrude it down like so. And now we get a kind of metallic look. Now you can see that right here, it's not being stretched. And that's because on the mapping, we also want to put the Y scale down to 0.1. Now, let's say we want to add some, although right now at the top, it's no longer stretched either. So for this, I could go ahead and let me change this to, let me see what I want to change this to. I'll just change this to UV for now, I think. Let me see. So let me change this to UV for now. Now, let's say you want some edge wear and tear on this. Well, if you want edge wear and tear, we could go ahead. We need to be in cycles, by the way, because this only works in cycles. So make sure to go to cycles, render engine, and of course, everything's in cycles, like so. And, and right here, let me adjust the roughness a little bit. Let's say I want to add some edge wear and tear. Here, I could get a bevel here. And I can hit Shift D and duplicate this bevel node. So if we Control Shift left click the bevel node, you get these lines right here on the edges. Pretty cool. Now, on the radius, if I get a noise, I could distort right there at a and I contrast this color ramp, as you can see right here, and make them less less kind of spread out. So now we have some edge wear and tear. And then all I have to do, if I hit Shift A and add color ramp after, I have a black, and let me contrast this a little bit. So let me bring the white slider down so you can see a little bit better. To create edge wear and tear, and I can make this like rusty silver texture with the edges, as you can see right now. Of course, you want things needs the metallic look, and then the roughness, etc. And tear. Let me brighten better. So you could see it right there. Shinier. And really whatever you want. Let me get this, because this background is really annoying me. There we go. All right. So added a quick sky texture into there. So you can see that now we have some wear and tear on the edges of our metal texture right here. initiate. First, so right. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Got it. Thanks, Abs. Mapping node. So, so you could even have this set to UV right here and all of these to 1. Even in the UV editor with these V's, you could scale these up. So let me, why isn't the UV working? Let me, all right. Well, never mind on that. Just go ahead and open it if you want. So right here, let me go ahead and open it. That's not the one I want. Let me open the other one. So right here, where is it? Dang it. Where is it? Mastermind, sculpt there. All right, guys. So here we last left off on sculpting this right here. Now I'm going to show you how to sculpt with a texture, which is really, really cool. So to sculpt with the texture, Ruin says, nice, I'm going to head out. I'll be sure to stop by on another stream. Anytime, man. Good to have you. So right here, to sculpt with a texture, guys, all we have to do is go to the sculpting tools. And here we're going to go to texture and click on new. And again, we're in sculpt mode. So click on new and then go to the texture tab right here. Then we're going to click on open. And what you want to open is a black and white displacement map. So for example, here I have these right here. But if you go to Google and type in scales bump map CC0. So in Google Images, if you type in, and let me share the screen here on Zoom too. On Google Images, if you type in scales, for example, here I'm getting scales, you could type in scales bump map CC0. And all you want is a black and white displacement map such as this. Now, obviously, I want scales, but if you want something else, you could get something else. For example, you could get some scars. So you could get, some scars. You could get some scratches, whatever you want. So once you have that, all I'm going to do is over here, I have my texture loaded. And I'm going to go to the sculpt tools right here. And here you can see we have the texture. With dynamic topology enabled, if I left click and drag on here, if I hit the F key, we could see the scales right there. If I left click and drag, you could see that we can't really see the scales. And that's because my detail isn't high enough. So down here under dynamic topology, I'm going to change it from relative detail to constant detail. And I'm going to put the resolution to 150 or so. Once I have that, if I left click, you can see that I could start to add the scales. And if I left click and hold, you can see that the scales are being added. Now it still looks terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the brush type. So right here, I'm going to change the mapping from view plane to stencil right here. With the stencil, we have a stencil in the bottom left. If I right click, I can move the stencil. Control right click, I could rotate the stencil. And shift right click, I could scale the stencil up or down, as you can see right there. So right here, I don't know what just happened. So right here, I could go to the front and I could scale up my stencil. I could rotate it. And here, if I left click and drag, you can see that the scales will start to be added to the sculpt right here. 5 hours later. So right here, as you could see right there. Now let me hit Control Z to undo that because that was not really how I wanted it to look. So let me rotate these like this. There we go. And now if I left click once, you can see that it will add them once. If I click again, it will add them again. However, if I left click and drag on here, you can see it will basically increase the intensity with how it adds them, as you can see right there. Now, what I want to do, I think I got the wrong scales map, but what I want to do right here is I'm going to change my strength to like 0.5 or so. And now with this texture, in fact, I'll just put it to like 0.7 or 0.8. I could just click on here and it will start to add the kind of finer detail. Now, this might be a little bit too intense, actually. So let me put the strength down a little bit. And let me see how this looks right here. So you can see that now I could add a very small, fine detail on my model or on my sculpt, as you could see right there. We could still hold down Shift and smooth it out with the smooth brush. But here, I'm able to basically sculpt with a texture. And I could just left click and draw and sculpt a texture onto here, just like that. Very, very cool. Now you need to be careful with the strength because right here it's way too strong. So usually with the stencil, if you just left click once, it kind of adds it nicely. It all depends on the strength of your brush that you have. So once you have the detail, you could also kind of smooth it out. So right here, if I change this back to view plane, I could start to smooth this out a little bit, like so. And I could start to detail it a little bit more. Now you can see that right here, it seems like I have the wrong stencil. The stencil I wanted was this one right here. I think I imported the wrong stencil because the one I wanted was these scales right here. As you could see, you could just drag in and draw these scales just like that, which is really, really cool. So again, right here, I have the stencil, and just by clicking right here, as you could see, I could add these scales just like that. So you can see right here, the scales have been added. And of course, if you left click on it again, it will basically layer it on top of the previous one. So you could kind of change the intensity by clicking on it multiple times. And now you can see that we have this nice scale texture that we're able to sculpt. Pretty freaking cool. And again, guys, if you missed any of the live tutorial, these are the shorts for the day. So you could look on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and those are the shorts for this past week, which has been sculpting this creature right here and doing all that. Tomorrow will be the final one where we basically texture paint this and add colors for the sculpt and the eyes and everything. All right. Does anyone have any questions on texture, on sculpting with textures. Anyone has any questions regarding that? By the way, guys, we do this live Q&A and tutorial every single weeknight. So every weeknight, same time, same place, we do a live Q&A and tutorial where you could ask any questions and then also watch a live tutorial. All right. If no one has any questions regarding the sculpting, we're going to end off here, guys. But we'll see everyone tomorrow on tomorrow's live. Again, the official site for the community is blendermania3d.com. So blendermania3d.com is the official site for the community. And over there, you could share your work. There's a live Q&A. There's a live chat room, sorry. You could share your work and you could see all the different times for all the different lives and everything. So with that, guys, appreciate having you all here. We'll see everyone tomorrow for tomorrow's live. And keep on blending. If you ever need help, just reach out to me on blendermania3.com. We'll see everyone there. Ciao for now. Au revoir. See you guys.